Think about the last time that you were truly fully in your element. Patient, creative, generous, the best version of you. Now think about who was in the room. Was it the people at home or was it everybody else? If that just stung a little, stay with us on the Better You Show. Welcome, everyone, to the Better You Show. I'm your host, Doris. I'm known as the Chaos Calmer. And today we have Coach Joyce, the Happiness Igniter. And we also have a very special guest joining us who I've really been looking forward to introducing you to because what she does is going to land for a lot of you watching. Ellie Hyvonen is a life and health coach whose entire practice is built around the high capacity woman who's carrying everything: the schedules, the emotional weight, the mental load of the home, and then coming home at the very end of the day with nothing left for the people that she loves the most, or especially not for herself. Ellie works with a 6-step habit change coaching method that gets underneath the behavior, down to the identity and the beliefs that are keeping the pattern locked in place. And her philosophy: a calmer home begins with a calmer her. Ellie, welcome to the Better You Show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, like I said earlier, I'm so glad that you're here because I wanted to ask you something. I really think that a lot of women watching need to hear this answered out loud. If the person who's here with us today on the other side of the screen is feeling completely depleted, giving everything to everyone, and running on nothing for herself, what's the one thing that actually starts to turn it around?
That's a great question. So, the first thing that I would say is, as a life and health coach, we look a lot at the future focus. We don't necessarily look at the past as much for people. So, I think that first piece is going to come to what we actually want. We do ask, what is it that you want and why? We kind of get to that identity piece. So, if you're that rushing mom who's maybe or wife who's maybe working hard all day, and then you're coming home and feeling like you also have to carry everyone's schedule still, or feeling like you have to make all the meals and neglect your own self-care and your own reset. There's obviously a deeper desire there that you have, but we're ignoring it, right? Because we have that pressure. We might have some performance. We might have some perfectionism. We might have some deeper identities there that need some rewiring, some updating. And so my first piece would be to ask what it is that we want. What would we rather have in those evenings? So we'd rather have space to transition well, so I can take care of myself for a few minutes before having to take care of everybody else. All right. So what does it look like to make that space? That's where our first habit is going to come in. And we'll talk about what physical habit to reset we might need, or a mental reset, or a spiritual reset. And then we would go deep into those more practical.
That is incredible. So you mentioned that the first habit is that transition. Um, and I agree, that is so, so valuable. Is that part of your 6-step habit change?
Yeah. So within my transformational system, so we always go through 5 different steps. And the first part is to step back from our situation. So we step back and we realize, where am I? What it is that's happening? What is my need right now? So for my casual, stressed out, burnt out, career driven mom, a need is often a 10-minute reset when you get home. Maybe it's some proper nutrition is the need. We're asking some questions about that. Maybe it's better self-care and like grounding or something like that. It might be a very physical need. It might be a mental need as well. So we're stepping back from our situation, and then we're going to let go. We're going to let go of a disempowering belief. Perhaps it's the belief that I need to get home so fast because no one else can make dinner. So I just need to go home and do it and get it done with. And I'm not going to get to go to Pilates today for myself, but oh well, I just got to make sure that everything is good, right? That mindset. So then we have to let go of a belief. And then we have to say yes to self. So, yes to a new empowered truth. What is that new identity that I'm going to walk in? I am a capable mom, but I'm also a mom who's calm. And in order to be calm, I need to first have a protein dense snack and some hydration and prepare myself for an evening after a long day. I need a little bit of that reset time. And then the fourth step is to take empowered action from that new identity. And then the fifth step will be to set up a system of accountability. And that's what a coaching relationship with me would look like. But it also can be other ways that you get that accountability, maybe through your reminders on your phone or something turns off at a certain time of the day. So you have to relax for those minutes. Or maybe it's your partner or your dog needing a walk at the afternoon, something like that.
That you incorporate not just mental awareness, but also the physical aspect of it where, you wanna make sure that you're having something protein rich, that you're getting the movement in, that you're getting the physical care because it's not one or the other, really, it goes together.
Yes, absolutely. We're very embodied humans, right? We're mind, we're body, we're spirit. So often when clients come saying they're struggling with weight gain or exhaustion or burnout, those are the top of the surface symptoms. I still will start with code red. We'll still look at rest. We'll still look at what we are eating, what is our nourishment, and we'll look at what we're drinking, what is our hydration. Like those pieces of our biology, sometimes those feed our exhaustion more than the mental stress of a workday. And when we neglect those things, especially in detrimental ways to our health, then every other part of us suffers because our physical self needs to be filled in the right ways in order to fill other people and spaces in our life.
And I love that you call it code red and then that's the acronym. That's fantastic. Um,
Yes.
Something that I know Coach Joyce often talks about with her happiness coaching is the guilt. Joyce, do you see a connection between what Ellie's talking about and the guilt that you see in your clients with happiness?
Yeah, definitely, and I can say, Ellie, I wish I had you 6 years ago because I was exactly there. So I'm
Right.
totally understanding your client's perspective here. Um, but yeah, there guilt is the biggest thing, from my perspective. How do you feel like how do we deal with the guilt that we have that we shouldn't be necessarily putting ourselves first, but everybody else and everything else? How do we deal with that? How would you deal with that?
The guilt. Yeah, it's a key question that I ask in my 90-day transformational program that I work through. One of the 5 questions is, how do I rest without guilt? And we look specifically at that. What does it mean to rest when I feel like I have to be or I feel like I have to do, right? You have those impulses. And underneath that, while there are identity pieces there that we might have to work through. Maybe there is an earning mentality that you grew up with. Maybe there is a perfectionistic piece that we'd have to work through a little bit, do some sequences around that. But often I find more that asking a few questions like, what is it that you want instead? Or if you weren't here to do all these things, what would happen? What's the imagined nightmare? Or what's the best thing that could happen if you weren't doing all of this? If you did go rest, what are some of the best things that could happen? So sometimes we go that route. Other times we just look at, all right, I'm feeling guilty about resting. What is a small way that I can rest that I won't feel guilty in? And you work your way up. So I'm not guilty if I am maybe working in my garden. That's restful for me. I'm alone. I can reset. Maybe I listen to a podcast or something, but I'm still doing something. It's different for me than totally disconnecting and vegging in front of a show and feeling like I'm neglecting my emotions or my family. Because at the heart of it, as women, we do want to be able to tune into our emotions. We want that. We want to be able to pour into our families and not feel guilty doing so.
I think that's the hardest part for me, and Coach Doris and I were just talking about that because I was feeling like that yesterday as far as resting was concerned, right?
Right.
Because I'm actually at my daughter's visiting with my grandchildren, right? So,
Mhm.
um, taking some time for me and for us, and not feeling guilty and not pulling out my computer was tough.
Right.
And I do think that that does flow into some of that perfectionism I used to have.
Yes, absolutely.
Um yeah, and I think a lot of us as women, and guys, well, as human beings, period, have that perfectionism in us and do need to work on losing that,
Mhm.
right? Um,
Absolutely. I always say the key to perfectionism is throwing the key away. Always
love that.
always work through that because it's just it's unreasonable, the expectations we put on ourselves, and then you lose yourself in the process. You lose your progress. You lose what actually matters amidst trying to reach when really sometimes your muscles need to be just where they are. They can't be stretched out that far. They need to come back and rest in order to be stretched again and to go for excellence.
Right, exactly, and that's exactly where I was, like I said, 6 years ago, and a complete
Yes.
change.
Oh, me
It's
too. I'm a
yeah?
recovering perfectionist, recovering for sure. I'm
Yeah,
very much that type. Burned myself out, had a chronic illness. I mean, that was my entire story. And absolutely just put myself to the very edge and end and missed everything that actually mattered in my
yeah,
my marriage and my work, right? We do that
yeah,
to ourselves. And that's why I'm
yeah.
passionate about coaching women out of that.
Now, Ellie, is that where your passion was born, was from what happened to you?
Absolutely. My initial journey began because I did suffer from a lot of years with Lyme's disease, and my life and my career is barely recognizable to me today. I was a slave to chronic pain. I was a slave to burnout, to still pushing through, even though I was navigating medications and then natural healing, and then adjusting my diet and my lifestyle and everything to try to make my joint pain less, to try to make my being, my mental space just a little bit better. And really just learn to steward that suffering over those years and to realize that, the dark parts of our stories, maybe the dark parts of a painting, are what make the light parts pop out. That's what makes the beauty come out. And that just had to be part of my journey. And I found healing through a lot of life small habits that really transform my greater being. And it came back to how well I was nourishing myself, how I was resting, how I was moving, those key areas that I work on with women. And then as well as that physical part of my journey, I saw just the power of transforming those old patterns, those identities that we hold with habit change. And it's not an overnight thing, but with the right systems and with the right accountability, it is possible to have new experiences from new beliefs. That's what confirms them.
A lot of what you speak of is exactly what I do in my practice as well, so it's really resonating with me.
Yeah.
The thing that I've seen in my practice, so I'd like to know if you see this in yours as well, is that some people who come to me, they end up blowing up at people that they love the most and giving
Yeah.
strangers the best of themselves.
Right.
And I'm wondering if you can tell me where you see that coming.
We only have so much to give. I do think you have a certain amount of energy, and part of that comes from how well we are nourishing ourselves and hydrating. I go back to all of those basics in the morning, getting those feet on the ground, 8 ounces of water right away before your caffeine, protein dense breakfast, eat all the colors, rounded meals, energy dense snacks. I'm all about that. I think that feeds our brain and I think it feeds our emotions and keeps us regulated. And when those things are regulated, we give to other people well, we do our job better. So when you're not doing that, especially all day, and then you're starving yourself or not drinking water, not resting, not moving, you're going to hit 4 p.m. and feel pretty crummy, and your loved ones will experience you like that. That's just going to happen. But there's also just a mental energy that we have, and it is given all day. It's a true fact. We're going to give it. We have to preserve it in some ways. And then when we come home and we still feel like we have to give that energy to all of our people at home, we still have to remember everything. We're not actually off when we come home. That's a pressure I think we, especially as women, carry. We're more burdened with that, I think, because we are sold this lie that we can do it all. You can be that 100% career woman and 100% wife or mom. And the reality is we lose ourselves in the process, right? That is not going to be realistic long term, especially if we're not grounding first in our day in the morning, if we're not taking care of ourselves throughout the day before that afternoon, or doing a little reset before we come home, which is definitely something I work on with clients and would love to include in the comments. My 10-minute after work reset is just kind of a reset exercise for women in these situations. We need it.
I love that.
Yeah, so do I. I know for me, a lot of times when I used to work, I came home from work and it was just like, I need to sit in the car to change hats, right?
Yes.
So I went from a
Yeah.
manager to a mom again, and that was like that took time, you know what I
Yes.
mean? But that's the
Absolutely.
only way that I could do what I needed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so true. Taking those few minutes. It's absolutely part of my reset like routine that I do when I'm coming home for sure.
So, and I love your take on this, and I fully agree with it that the better you take care of yourself, the more you'll have to give to others, and giving it in a balanced way so that you still have enough
Right.
reserve left when you get home, and taking the space that you need to be able to do what you want to do.
Right. Right. What we want to do. We also have those desires. Sometimes we love to read, we love to paint, we love to sleep a little bit, we love to have someone else do what we might normally do. We need that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. And as far as transitions go, in the evenings when I really should be spending time with my family and doing the things that um, would rejuvenate me, if I don't have something planned ahead of time, I'll automatically default to work.
Right.
And because I work from home, it's easy to slip into that, right? Um,
Right.
so a way that I've been working through that is by at the end of my workday, I have a certain route for a walk that I take in my
Yes.
neighborhood, and that's my walk home. That's my transition as though, I'm going to work in the morning and I'm coming home at night. And that transition time is the change.
Absolutely. It's in those small habits that truly make a difference, right? Small habits, they say a habit can change your life. Change your habit, change your life. It's the littlest things that just fuel us and keep us moving forward so we can be the best version of ourselves, that true version that we lose track of because of this big S word of stress, right? And realistically, it's just our body crying out that, hey, we're not slow enough here. We're just a little not rested. We're struggling a bit with digestion here. Can you just slow down? Can you just remember who you are while you're eating and while you're resting and remember what matters? And then you can do the rest of your life well.
Rest helps you do the rest of your life. Yeah.
Yes.
Love that.
I would say that a huge part of living well and loving well is it's in those first hours of the day. So I always love to encourage clients that when you're first starting your day, to also have a few habits in place there. You've been fasting and not drinking water all night. So to just try one thing, try 8 ounces of water before coffee, try a little more protein dense breakfast, get your digestion going, try a 5-minute meditation. Just be curious with your body. It's one of the most amazing labs that we have. We can try things with and be so gracious as we're making changes and just curious what's going to happen if I try this and not judgmental because change is really just 1% at a time is all that matters, right? Just taking one step out of that mountain, small hinges will swing big doors. So being curious in that and just encourage you to try one thing. And I would love to be your accountability in that and help coach you through that if that's something you're interested in.
I'm gonna try that. I know I've been hearing a lot about that, drinking the water in the morning, protein and water. I'm gonna remember that
Yes.
for sure. So thank you for that.
I would be happy to send along one of my webinars too called the Energy Boosting Morning Routine.
That would be fantastic. All right. Well, I know that I needed to hear that, and I think that maybe you did too. So, Coach Joyce, as always, thank you so much for hanging out with us and being a part of this episode. Coach Ellie, to the woman watching today, she needed to hear exactly what you just brought to this table. So, thank you so much for that. Where can people
Thank
find you and
you.
learn more about working with you?
Yes, absolutely. So you can absolutely find me on my Instagram at Ellie Hyvonen, but my first and foremost would be by joining my email community. I would always encourage on my website, you can join and this link will be sent along as well. You can schedule your free consult with me at my website at www.youarewholecoaching.com and start your journey to wholeness today and just simplify one thing, start one new habit, and we can be on that identity change behind the habit journey together. So I would love to have that conversation with you.
As Ellie said, the links will be in the description. And if you are struggling at any point to find those links and you want to know more, you can comment Ellie, or you can just pop into our feeds anywhere and let us know that you're looking for Ellie and we can point you in the right direction. Or if you want to work with Coach Joyce as well, for the wonderful happiness that she provides, and we will link with her as well. As always, we want you to thrive. If that means working with us or someone else, we want to give you that opportunity. And so you can always do a connection call with me where I will listen to what is going on in your life and help you figure out what your next best step is, whether it's with one of our coaches or maybe with Coach Ellie. So, the fact that you are still here and still asking these questions, still willing to look at this honestly, that's not enough. That's everything. If so, always remember that you matter. So, please take care. See you next time.
Oh, hey, thanks for watching. Since you watched this video, we thought you might really like this video. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe right there for more great videos. Plus, tap that notification bell so that you don't miss any videos at all. Comment your thoughts below and see you next time.